The firefighters worked tirelessly to tackle the blaze that engulfed an entire 3-story townhome in West Philadelphia. The family of 4 was saved thanks to the efforts of one firefighter, Shane McGillis. Shane, you fought this fire for 3 hours.
Yeah. It was pretty brutal up there.
Can you confirm this is you?
Yeah, this is...
We have an unnamed source claiming you may, in fact, be a white supremacist.
So I'm not a white supremacist. I just saved an entire family up there, and not that it matters at all, but those were Mexicans.
The family was, in fact, Guatemalan.
Well, I didn't go to college, so...
Are you saying on the record that all Hispanics look the same?
What's this? What are you doing?
Let's see some more footage.
Oh, dude, I love Trump. I love Donald Trump so much, dude.
What the f***?
Was this you last night?
Are we not talking about the fire?
This is about whether or not you were fit to be fighting fire the night after a bender.
I was not on a bender.
Breaking news, folks. Was a local conservative firefighter too intoxicated to be doing his job?
There's no break.
We now have Shane's best friend Barry on the line.
Jesus Christ, they got Barry?
Holy shit, am I on TV?
Barry shared a screenshot of your text with him last night. At 1:13 a.m., you texted him, "Y'all want to get pancakes."
What the f***, Barry?
They told me they were the FBI.
Why would they be the FBI?
I don't know, man. I'm still drunk.
At 2:15 a.m., escorts in my area.
Oh, see, I know what happened. Shane thought he was on Google, but he was actually still texting
Barry,
me.
shut the f*** up.
All right, no problem.
Jesus Christ, Barry, you're killing me. Oh, this is the guy.
He saved my family.
Yeah, I saved his entire family up there.
Excuse me, sir. Are you aware that this man is a known racist?
That's not true. That's not true. No true-o.
More on this developing story about the racist firefighter who touched Guatemalan children in their home after breaking down their door with an axe.
Why'd you say it like that?
Where was he when the fire started? Surely not at his home at 12407 Apple Blossom Lane in Haverford, zip code 92406.
Don't put that on the screen. Don't put that on the...
We're getting word right now that Fire Chief Brian Connolly will be here shortly to have a press conference about this racist firefighter.
Oh, hey, Chief.
Hey, pal. Hey, great job up there.
Thank you very much, sir.
We decided to terminate firefighter Shane McGillis. This department has a zero-tolerance policy on intolerance, and this is going to go into effect immediately. All right? All right, let's get back to this Puerto Rican flame.
So that's not you.
A fantastic day here at Deplorable News Network. We'll see you soon. Amazing. We got the guy fired.
Jesus Christ.
You hungry? All this flames. Make me in the mood for Mexican.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the twins of the Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Gosh, Shane Gillis, he's good, man. He's funny, and that is so indicative of the modern media. I mean, that's what they want. That's the kind of power they exert over people. It's like, is this relevant to this guy saving lives? No, but we don't care about him saving people. We care about who he is as a person and the backstory and who he's voting for. That's the most important thing, not what he did. But yeah, I mean, that's so good. That is so, again, indicative of how the modern media is today. Speaking of which, one thing the modern media can't do is have an honest conversation for more than 3 hours. And if you saw the title of today's show, Rogan and Trump break the internet. They did. They had 20 million views in the first hour when he posted that to YouTube, and we don't even know how many views he got on Spotify.
They got a crap ton. As of right now, last I checked, I think it was at 30 million views just as of, I think, this morning, but I have to check again. It's probably even more than that by now.
This is why Joe Rogan and the podcast format is so important because, I mean, how else? We got to see Donald Trump unfiltered for literally 3 hours. I watched that whole thing. It was not a boring listen. It was enjoyable the whole time. It was interesting to listen to. It was interesting to get Trump's perspective on things and have a real unfiltered conversation with Rogan. And again, Rogan was doing his due diligence. He was digging deep, trying to get to the heart of some of the issues, try to figure out he was really interested. What is that like? What is it like when you get into the White House? What is it like when you appoint people? How does it work? That is interesting. It's something that I think all of us want to know. And again, that's why Joe Rogan is the most popular podcaster in the world today, because he's just an average guy. He's an average Joe like the rest of us.
I don't know about you guys, but
he wants to know the truth, and he wants to know how politics works and how Washington works, how that disgusting political machine works. And it's really interesting to see, especially from someone like Trump, who is an outsider to that machine and gets to talk kind of candidly about it. So, I mean, that's so interesting. And again, Trump wasn't the only person that went on and did some great podcasts lately. His BP pick, Vance, went on 2 podcasts that were fantastic. Like, Trump actually did the same podcast that Vance did not too long ago.
He did the podcast with, what's his name?
Theo Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn is one of the most popular podcasters right now as well. He went on Theo Vaughn, and then JD Vance also went on Theo Vaughn, and just proved that JD Vance is like the most down-to-earth, like, humble dude. Like, he's just like, they're talking back and forth because they're both kind of redneck country boys.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and he is. And JD Vance definitely is.
They both grew up trailer trash.
Yeah.
So he's like, I relate to you, man. I relate to you and your story, like, so much. It's kind of crazy how similar our lives were. So that's awesome. You know, again, and people get to see that. And it's like, JD, and, you know, again, he even tweeted, you know, it's like the media is saying that JD Vance is some kind of weirdo, you know. He goes, this is the most normal, down-to-earth dude I've ever met and talked to. So I don't know what the heck the media is talking about. But again, the media has had a monopoly on public opinion for literally like 70-plus years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, remember, it's like they made the media shaped everyone's perception of Mitt Romney. They shaped everyone's perception of John McCain, of Bush. Hollywood did. The media did. They all did. And now the internet is kind of caught fire now, and we can actually see people for who they really are. We get to see people, again, that's why these podcasts are so important. You get to see these unfiltered, raw interviews with people that aren't scripted, that people just talk about what they want to talk about. I mean, and JD Vance on Theo Vaughn, and Trump on Theo Vaughn, and Trump with Rogan, like, I mean, it proves it.
I've got the Theo Vaughn and what's his name? JD Vance clip pulled up right here.
Go
if
ahead.
you want me to play it.
Go ahead.
Let me refresh it, and I'll turn on the sound.
Said there's 3 times as many lobbyists in D.C. as there are congressmen and senators. Why doesn't it stop? Like, if all you guys know it and everybody's supposed to be working for the people, then why doesn't it stop?
You got to be honest with people. Like, I'm not going to let this person write a piece of legislation for me. I'm not going to let this person dictate how I vote. And yeah, I've gotten definitely some criticisms from the lobbyist groups in D.C. Some of them will say, well, you know, we don't know if we can trust this guy. And that's fine with me. I'm okay. I'm
if
okay
a
with
lobbyist
them
can't trust you,
exactly
fucking good.
Exactly.
You're doing your job.
That's exactly right. That's my exact attitude towards it.
They don't know if we can trust you. Who gives a fuck?
Here's the thing that I think we need to fix structurally about this. If I wanted to pay my chief of staff $30,000 more a year than what I pay him right now, I'm not allowed by law. We want the people in our government to be public spirited and focus on doing the public good. I don't think that this system that we have works very well, where, you know, you do public service for a little bit and then you jump and go make $1 million a year as a lobbyist.
Right.
No. I think you got to separate those functions much better than you have right now.
Yeah, because then being a public servant is just a junior college for becoming a lobbyist, it seems like.
That is a big worry that I have, especially with my staff. I mean, these are really smart, really good guys. And a big part of what I think about as a senator, big part of what I think about is how am I going to keep these guys as they get more senior? And then the staffers want to buy a nicer house and they want to, you know, start a family, and lobbyists
going to spend whatever they want when they're the Yankees.
That's exactly right.
Bernie Sanders said there's 3 times as many lobbyists in.
Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
Again, so legislators, people who work for JD Vance's staff and every politician's staff, get to write legislation that JD Vance wants passed. But he can't afford to pay them or keep them on payroll there because it costs $4,000 to live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Washington, D.C. So what happens? They all become lobbyists because they get paid $1 million a year to be a lobbyist. Why wouldn't you leave and go do that job?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that's crazy. And again, I mean, I remember I was on Tinder a while back, a long time ago, and there was a girl that like matched with me that was a lobbyist, you know. I think she just thumbed her nose down at me because there was no way I made more money than her, you know. Yeah. It's like, sorry, I'm from Oklahoma, but I live in Washington, and just, you know, it's like, you're just this poor podunk country boy from Oklahoma. I'm a lobbyist. I'm like, oh my God, you're a scumbag, you know. And again, if they can't pay these guys to write good legislation for the people, Instead, you have lobby groups being like, well, we're going to write bills and laws on behest of these giant corporations and companies now. No wonder Nancy Pelosi's the best insider at trading, because she probably has people who work on her staff that are lobbyists. She goes, okay, I'll just have the lobbyists be my staff, and then they'll tell me where to invest my funds.
Yep.
There you go.
So
it's gross. And again, that's why Democrats won't go on podcasts. I mean, Kamala Harris could not survive. I mean, the stuff that the podcast Kamala Harris went on, the Call Her Daddy, that was so staged. It was so scripted. They were such softball questions. Like Joe and Trump had a very honest and authentic conversation. You know, it was clear that the stuff that Kamala's been on, I mean, like, remember the I can't remember what the podcast was with the two former NBA black dudes that she was talking about? She was talking to, like, they gave her pity laughs. They're like, ha, 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 ha. You know, like, it was that level of enthusiasm. They were, like, giving her softball questions and laughing and, you know, just trying to make it seem like the podcast was going better than it was. It was not. Kamala Harris would not survive the Joe Rogan podcast.
I mean, not to mention that how deeply the Democrats have lied for her regarding this McDonald's thing, which, you know.
Yeah, you want to play this? Is this a video?
No, it's not a video. It's just pick images. But look, I mean, they photoshopped Kamala Harris over this lady right here.
You might need to lower that in the screen.
Oh, yep. This lady right here.
So, yeah, holy cow.
So the Democrats will literally, like, pulling, like, communist, like, Stalin-level stuff where they're photoshopping children and people out of pictures. And they're taking this lady who apparently died of cancer, like, just a few years ago, a few years back, and they have photoshopped her over, or Kamala Harris over her. So, like, they always talk about how, like, said people like whitewashing history, like making it seem like the white people did everything. Well, Kamala Harris literally just brown-washed history right there. And this is like a real person. This isn't like, you know, like some historic figure that we don't really know a lot about. This lady right here existed, and she actually worked for McDonald's. And like the Harris campaign photoshopped her out of her own freaking thing. It's ridiculous. And so this is from Andy No. Liberals on social media are sharing a viral faked image of Kamala Harris in a McDonald's uniform to bolster her unsubstantiated claim that she worked at one in Alameda, California. Harris' face was superimposed on a white Canadian woman who passed away from cancer in 2007. They stole and misused a dead woman's image to spite Donald Trump. And I saw this. This was making the rounds like on either Friday evening or Saturday morning. And then within a few hours, boom, debunked. Here comes the people debunking it. The internet, you know, the internet autist came out and figured it out.
Internet autism powers activate.
Yeah. And that's what's going on here. I mean, I cannot believe that they would go to this level to lie about something like this. I mean, you could have easily passed it off of, oh, there's no record of it. You know, oh, well, maybe they got her name wrong. Maybe she went under a pseudonym or something when she worked there or something. Who knows? But,
well, like I said, remember,
now they put a fake picture out, and the internet has debunked it.
Well, I mean, I remember that the ends justify the means with the Democrats. There is no truth but power. So you can make up whatever you want in order to achieve the end goal.
Yeah.
Again, nobody cared. I mean, they called Bush, Cheney, they called them all Nazis. Everyone was a Nazi until Donald Trump, and now Donald Trump's a Nazi. And now they've it's like racist, misogynist, homophobe. All these words are meaningless now in our society. They're absolutely meaningless. They have been thrown around so casually, so flagrantly, that you wouldn't know a real one if you actually met one. Like, because everybody's racist, everybody's sexist, everybody's a homophobe.
Anybody that's a Republican or Donald Trump supporter is obviously racist. You know, whatever.
Like today, like the Madison Square Garden rally. It's like this is the 1939, the Nazi rally that happened at Madison Square Garden. It's like, really, all these people going to see Trump, like including celebrities like Hulk Hogan, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, they're all Nazis now, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Craziness, man. Absolute ridiculousness. I mean, this is the reality that the media has created. Anybody that disagrees with them is a Nazi, is a racist, is a homophobe. They're whatever ist they need at the time.
Yeah. Whenever you're losing the argument, just break out one of the old phobic, racist, words and you'll win. Look, I'm winning. I'm winning because this person's a bad person.
Yeah, this person fundamentally disagrees with my thought process. Therefore, they are evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, pull up something else. I know we've got the Tony Hinchcliffe.
Here we go. Yeah,
Oh,
here's Tony.
So this is from
Hinchcliffe.
Madison Square Garden. I can't believe Kill Tony came out here and did this, but this is awesome. Check this out.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson.
Swifties don't really like that. They're going to do their little witchcraft stuff on him now.
Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Hillary Clinton said that this is a Nazi rally here today. Can you believe that? For the most anti-war president of my entire lifetime, and she calls him Hitler. Let me remind you, Hillary, it was your husband who shot innocent people, or as he called them, interns. Yeah, Hillary, I bet you did not see that one coming. By the way, if I commit suicide in 3 weeks, I didn't. I mean, it's just obvious to me who the right candidate is. There's a guy out here dodging bullets. It is unbelievable, right? I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis...
Again, Tony Hinchcliffe absolutely crushing it. I mean, he did so good at the roast of Tom Brady, and now he's at this Madison Square Garden rally for Trump. I mean, that was awesome. What a great little speech. Funny, poignant. It's good. That's what we need right now. The fact that, independent people, independent thinkers, independent comedians are coming out and supporting Trump. It's like there are people who, again, there are all these celebrities. There's a reason that they're voting for Kamala. There's a reason. It's because they're in this little cabal of.
And we have the reason right here.
Yeah.
Said Tony just made a joke about this, but I'll go ahead and play it.
Who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio. That's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
Who's the...
That is the most true statement. This is why all those celebrities are voting for Kamala Harris, because these P. Diddy is the Hollywood Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
Said Epstein was the political, and
P. Diddy was the Hollywood.
Exactly. So Epstein was the Wall Street political person that got all this stuff, and then Hollywood's was P. Diddy.
Yeah, and again, this celebrities out in Hollywood, they're so godless. They're so like Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what his god is? His god is climate change. When you have the god hole in your heart, you have the god gap. You fill it with something. And for celebrities and politicians, it's activism. For Leonardo DiCaprio, his god is climate change. He's going to do everything he can to promote climate change and be like, hey, this is the most important thing. This is me repaying for my sins.
He cares about climate change. I think that after he got to one of these Diddy parties, they got him, and then Al Gore's like, why don't you come on tour with me for this stuff? 'Cause he flies around way too much in private jets and going and hooking up with, barely 18-year-old models to be like, I really give a crap about climate change. Oh, yeah.
He owns a private, like Epstein, he owns a private island and has like a hotel.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that he was bought and paid for with this Diddy stuff before, and that's why he's a climate activist, because like the Democrats can literally call on him, and their CIA allies can just call on him anytime. Hey, we need you to do some activism for us because you're a name brand that people will pay attention to.
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's genuine. I think he actually thinks that climate change. Because I remember Jonah Hill, who was a nobody, and after he hung out and became best friends with Leo, it's like he was talking about climate change all the time, and all of his girlfriends that he's dating. It's like, our big issue is climate change. We want to be part of climate change activism. So I think that he's actually swaying people and actually believes it, because I think that's like, this is what will be my repentance. It's like the climate gods will absolve me of all sin, even though I've been caught at all these Diddy parties diddling girls. It's like that's what it is, man. So that's my opinion on the matter. Like I said, don't take it as gospel. But yeah, I mean, again, these people are are all there's dirt on them, so they don't have much of a choice but to toe whatever line is put in front of them.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I've got one last video that we could talk about now. Is so we want to end on like a funny note.
Sure.
But I can pull up the top 10 Trump moments of the debate.
Yeah, let's go.
Or of the thing. So I might as well pull this up and do this then. All right. Give me 1 second here. Let me change up the screen to multi-screen, full screen.
Transition.
Elon Musk, yes. He endorsed me. By the way, he gave me the nicest endorsement, too. He said, the country's going to fail. You should do the same thing, Joe, because you cannot be voting for Kamala.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the wildest, most compelling moments from former President Donald Trump's hotly anticipated appearance on Joe Rogan's smash hit podcast.
And every time I had to deal with a country, when they saw this whack job standing behind me, they said, oh, man, Trump's going to go to war with us.
Number 10, Trump's plans for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
First of all, I love this idea of you teaming up with Robert Kennedy.
Right.
And I love this Make America Healthy Again idea, because there are chemicals and ingredients in our food that are illegal in other countries.
The 2024 election cycle has, for lack of a better term, been an extremely wild ride. In an unprecedented sequence of events that found an incumbent president dropping out after the primaries, somehow the fact that a member of the Kennedy family was running for office took a back seat.
I think he's a great guy. I think he's
like right here is like they actually talked about this for like the Obama campaign originally. Like, the original idea was to stop sugar, was to like get be anti-sugar, and then all of a sudden they switched from anti-sugar to get out and move.
Initially ran as a Democrat.
And that's what Kennedy, like, I think Kennedy even had like a whole podcast about this on somebody. I don't remember if it was Rogan or not. Yeah, they just, because the sugar lobbyists came in and stopped them. They're like, no, you're going to ruin everything. You know how many people use sugar?
I said, focus on health. Focus. You can do whatever you want.
And it's not even sugar. It's that
be a little bit careful with
it's
the liquid
high
gold,
fructose corn syrup. It's not actual sugar.
But listen,
you'd be better off eating actual sugar.
Focus on health.
Oh yeah.
Number 9, Trump brags about how healthy he claims to be.
I was never one that could like run on a treadmill. And I can do it. You know, when passing a physical, they ask me to run on a treadmill, and then they make it steeper.
You have to watch this whole thing.
As noted by the BBC, former President Trump has been scrutinized.
Anyway, what was so awesome about this podcast, it was unscripted. They just kind of went off and talked about whatever, and that's why Joe Rogan's stuff is so great. I mean, he could be talking about smoking weed one second, talk about aliens the next, and talking about geopolitics in the next little bit of it.
You ever done DMT?
Yeah, you ever done DMT? So that's what's so great about the Joe Rogan podcast. It can go anywhere. And again, that's why they would never let Kamala Harris on the Joe Rogan podcast, because there's just no there's no way they can control it. Again, Democrats are the party of wag the dog. It's like we will control the aspect. There is nothing's generic, nothing's genuine.
Yeah,
it's all scripted.
Yeah, everything about her, even her town halls, they've shown like they've had teleprompters. The people were asking questions from teleprompters. So these questions were all staged. So if you could imagine her showing up to do a free-floating conversation with Joe Rogan, that would be like the worst nightmare for her. Because, I mean, imagine Joe Rogan. She's only been slightly pressed certain times in her interviews. Imagine her being pressed by Joe Rogan like he has some of those like liberal people, like that one guy that came out, I forget his name, what his name, something ruins, Adam ruins everything. When he pressed him, he goes, well, if I ask to get a female dog and they give me a male dog, I'm going to be a little upset. Just like, gender doesn't matter. It's gender's fluid. You know, he pressed him on that. Like, imagine Kamala Harris, like him asking her, what's the deal with you giving convicts
and migrants
transgender surgeries? Like, it would be allowed taxed free or whatever. And you're just like, imagine her trying to like come to terms with that. Because that doesn't make any sense. Why would you give a criminal the right to transition to go to a jail that they want to go to?
Yeah, why would you give a man the right to transition to a woman so he can go to a woman prison without having to worry about actually getting the surgery to remove his genitalia?
Yeah.
I mean, there are women in prison there are guys who claim to be women that have knocked up female prisoners.
Yeah, while they're still serving time.
Yeah. So, what the heck's going on, folks?
No, these are the questions that would be asked, is like how radical that the Democratic Party has truly become. And even if they don't actually mean it, they're saying these things, and it's causing shifts and changes in people's behaviors and in the economy.
Yeah. So, again, don't just watch these little highlight reels. Watch the actual full 3-hour podcast.
Yeah.
They will make Trump more likable and more relatable, and they'll show him in a more plain light.
Yeah, it did. I mean, super real, like nothing like ever really went wrong for him in this thing. I mean, the weirdest conversation they had was the whales and the wind turbines or whatever, making vibrations, which he's like, I wish I could be a whale psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Was the weirdest thing that happened, which is just him being funny. But it made it, like, again, doing these podcasts makes him extremely relatable, and Kamala Harris is trying to follow up, but the only one that she's done was call her daddy, and then the one with those two NBA
basketball
players that they didn't even break like 20,000
Well, and then
views
even
or whatever.
Charlemagne the God, Charlemagne the charlatan had Kamala on his show, and then like everybody was roasting him for giving her softball questions and not actually grilling her on policy positions that are going to help benefit his audience, which is the black community.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the issue, is like every single one she's been on has been softball questions, and that's what they've said. They're afraid that they can't control Rogan. Like, Rogan's going to go, I mean, you've seen how these conversations go. He goes off on tangents. They just go off in random directions. Like, if they can't control the conversations, like you said, if they can't wag the dog, they're not going to do it. That's why Kamala Harris won't do it.
And again, this is Kamala Harris. Like, if she can't handle an unscripted interview with Joe Rogan, how the hell is she going to go and negotiate with people like Vladimir Putin? How is she going to go and negotiate and get a good deal against people like Zelensky? Who just keep handing me money, lady.
Yeah,
keep handing me money.
Yeah, and then
how are you going to stop wars? How are you going to make people afraid of America when you're like, I'm too afraid to debate and talk to Joe Rogan?
And that's the only other thing that I would say too. Some people I saw some people complain that he didn't tell Joe Rogan what he would do to stop the war between Ukraine and Russia. Well, if you tell them on live, internet or television what you're going to do,
it's like Vladimir
they know
Putin
what you're going to do.
Vladimir Putin's gonna be like, oh, so this is his tactic. So this is what I know it. It's like you can't put all your cards on the table. I'm like, this is I'm gonna lay out my plan right here, step by step.
Imagine if the military told the enemy, "Here's our battle strategy."
And again, this is why General Milley is a traitor. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many people who are posting things about General Milley going, everyone should read this thing on Wikipedia about General Milley talking about Trump because it's so profound. And it's like, General Milley is a traitor. He is a traitor to Donald Trump, to America, to the administration. Again, it's like, don't worry, China. I'll tell you if we're planning on making moves against you. It's like, what? You would tell a potential enemy that we were coming for them, endangering all the troops under your command. You are a psychopath, sir. All because what? You want to get some clout in the Democratic Party?
Yeah, he's thinking of being a political figure after his career is over.
Yeah, after his general
and
term
that's
is over.
the issue, is it's retirement plans. A lot of these people working on their retirement plans for after everything's said and done.
Yeah.
But
so, anyway, what else did you have, or was that about it?
That's really about it. I can find something to wrap up with real quick. Let me get out of this full screen mode.
But yeah, everyone, here's what I say. I highly recommend you taking the time. If you're in a long car drive, or you got downtime at work, or you do a job where you can kind of passively listen to something, turn on the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump. Listen to it. Listen to the whole thing. It's a good listen. It's a good watch. And not only that, watch all the stuff all the podcasts JD Vance. Watch the Theo Vaughn podcast with Trump. Watch the Theo Vaughn podcast with JD Vance. Watch the Tim Dillon podcast with JD Vance. The guy lays out his positions, and they are down to earth, relatable, and funny. And I think they're going to make this country a much better and safer place if they win the election. If the Democrats don't steal it, So again. It was awesome. I highly recommend. They definitely broke the internet. They set the internet on fire. So with that being said, that's about all we've got for you today. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's about all we've got for you. God bless you, everybody.
See you later, everybody.
He's a Democrat door knocker campaigning for Kamala Harris, and look how it goes. So he put the flyer on the door. He left the door open. And then yoink. And he's off with your scooter. And he looked right at the camera before that, too. He just couldn't resist. And I think it's because he knows that Kamala's policies are not going to get him into trouble. He'll just get caught and then released or not even brought to jail.
He's supporting that candidate for a reason. Whether he believes in Kamala or whether he was paid to do it, it's like you either believe in Kamala and then you're doing the worst thing possible while looking into the camera for her brand.
Criminals for Kamala.
Or you're getting paid and then you're just stealing at work at the first opportunity you could.